Hi, Steve here again, talking about pallets. Okay, so when you take 3 pallets and you disassemble the wood out, you can use a breaker tool or something like that, a pry bar. Like I said, I'm using this one thing now called a honey badger. Basically, it's a demo bar. Okay, so I'm having to use this because I had made one, but it's kind of like this, but not, and it removes these pieces of wood really simply, but the thing is, because the wood is so hard, it leaves the nails in. Okay, either in the 4x, or as in this case, you have the piece of wood, and let's say you wanted to save this piece of wood. Now this piece of wood has some damage over here and a little bit down here, so it's not really worth using it for anything. You want to make a DIY fence and not have to pay anything for this stuff, they'll just say, hey, take the damn things as you want, take the pallets. The good thing is that if you can find the good ones, the big ones, you don't want the small ones. So like this pallet that's way back here, that pallet right there is a 4x5, maybe a 4x6. Unusable wood because it's 2x4s. The 2x4s are cut on the side so you can put the forks in, so it's not really worth anything, okay, for somebody like me. I usually like the longer ones like this, and you can usually find those in fabrication places. Go to water jetting places, any place that deals with metal, fabrication kind of things, because my landlord at my business is a water jetter, and they get some really thick 2, 3, 4 inch thick material, sometimes titanium, aluminum, up to 6-7 inches, and they got to cut that with their water jet. So they need a heavy duty pallet to pick this shit up. The good thing is that they don't have any slots cut into the 4x4s. Okay, so they have long extensions. They come in through the side and they pick it up. This one here is, I think, 12 feet. I have 10-foot long extensions on my forklift here at my farm, and so I'm able to pick these things up if I had to. I've got a plasma table over there, so if I needed to, I can just do that. But anyway, so what I like about these big pallets is that you get this really good wood. So this one here, these are all 4x4s. This one here is not as good because it's got some damage like I showed in a previous video. But all these 4x4s are free. Now, if you go down to Home Depot or Lowe's, any place like that, all of their 4x4s and 4x6s, 2x6s, everything is just made out of pine or fir, which is a very soft wood. So if you went to go take a 2x4 and you went to go screw it in with a Torx bit screw, it'll keep going into that 2x4 because the wood that they sell is really soft. But when you get into the pallets, they got to have heavy shit so it's not going to break. So when I started getting into this, I was like, well, I'm going to start doing some stuff and making stuff. So I made this table here. That's a 4x8 table, and it's all made out of pallets. The only difference is that this one here is a 1 1/16 plywood. Don't use CDX or any of that crap wood. And then the 2x6s that are on the bottom, those are actually like grade C or grade 3 or something like that. They don't need to support anything, so it doesn't matter. So I wound up getting a 20-footer for like 15 to 20 bucks or something like that, and I was able to make all the leg supports out of those. And then the I think it's 1 1/8 plywood top was about 40 bucks, and that was also like a grade B or something like that. You don't have to get something heavy duty and super pristine because you're just going to beat on it anyway. So I've already got motor oil and grease and all kinds of stuff on it. So to me, it doesn't matter, and I'm not going to paint it because then the paint will peel or whatever. It's like, no, I'll just leave it the wood. But the good thing is that all the legs, all these sides, this is 4x4 wood. That's 4x4s. These are 4x4s. These are 2x3s. This is all pallet. So I made this table for roughly about 60 bucks, but it's industrial. I mean, I've got my vise mounted this thing. It's not a wood vise like working on wood, but I could easily put one of those things on here and this table will be indestructible for years. But it's all made out of pallets. Now the problem is when you're doing pallets, I showed in a previous video, where I was using this nail gun right here. This nail extractor pulls the nails out. And like I said, these nails, they have these corkscrew designs on here. So these nails are meant to go in and screw themselves in when they're put in. And they're a bitch to get out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the other tool today, which is this. And what this does is it pushes the nails out of the wood. So let's say you got these 3 nails. And they're all they're not level at all. Okay. So what you do is you take this tool here, and you got to have something, put the thing inside of a garbage can, because those nails are going to shoot out about 120 miles an hour. I swear, this tool is bitching. So I'm going to show you the first way that most people do nail removals. First they do is they take this piece of wood here, they find another piece of wood like this, and they're going like this. And if you're lucky, it goes straight, and it doesn't go screw you up. This one here is kind of an angle. That one went good too. Now this one here, we got to nail it there, up, and see that one there didn't go straight, so now you're having to fight it. Okay. But what this tool does here, this fits over the nail. You bend the nail like this, and then you push the trigger and it shoots it out. So let me go grab a can and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I took a 5-gallon container, cut a hole out of it, and this way if the nails come out, they're going to shoot into the bucket. They're going to shoot into the bucket's going to hold them, and they're not going to ricochet out. Okay, so what we're going to do is, funny thing is, I'm going to put my cell phone in a vise, and this way at least I can have the vise holding my camera. This way I can kind of show you what I'm doing. See, I'm not bullshitting, so here we go. I have a rubber protector on it, so I don't really have to squish it very hard. But there we go, I got a cell phone holder now, okay? Industrial cell phone holder, okay? So like I said, we can either take a piece of nail or a piece of wood, and you have to have it tall enough to where when you knock out the plank, the nail could actually go past the wood, because otherwise if you had like a 2x4, this nail would only go so far and hit the tabletop. So what we'll do is take this wood here, then you have to take the hammer and pull it out, and sometimes it's a real bitch, okay? So I'm going to put these back in. So I put them back in here. Like I said, we got these 3 here, we got those 3 here. We'll take my little trusty nail gun, put it over the container. Look at that. Done. Again, straighten it out. This is crazy shit. I have no nails in here now. I mean, I swear, when it comes to people building tools, I don't know who came up with this idea. I know, unfortunately, I bought the tools from AliExpress, a company made in China, or a Chinese company to sell Chinese goods. But if they created that tool, to me, I would say they get the Best Tool of the Year award if they built both of them at the same time. Because the one extracts the wood out of the super hard wood that these pallets are made out of, and they also take the nails and they shove them through the freaking board so fast, you don't have a 2-step process. Tap, 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 flip it over, pull the nail out with a claw hammer. It doesn't happen that way. Now when you're pulling out the wood and you're using the extractor out of a 4x4 or something, and the nail breaks, which they do, you can find some of the nails. So let's say you got, let's see, I've got one in here that, so that nail came out with the extractor, absolutely no problem, okay? Now I did have a nail And remember, these things, this is about a 2.5 inch long nail. So you have a long way to sit there with a pry bar or a claw hammer and rip them out. So what do you do when the nail head breaks off? Okay. You're like, ah, crap, I'll just take the nail, I'll just nail it into the wood, and then if I cut it with my saw, oh well, so be it. Instead, what I do is I grab a pair of vice grips. These are nasty, dirty, you know, so I don't worry about them. But they still function. They're made by vice grip. Okay. So what I usually do is if the nail head breaks off, so let's say this is the broken end of the nail, which again, you can see how it's kind of screwed in there a little bit, is I take the vice grips and that you crimp it, and when you take it, pull it this way, because see how this rolls? So you can take the nail that's broken off and you can grab it like this, and then when you roll it like this, it'll extract the nail. And that's why that nail is the way it is because I grabbed it with the vice grips, just that much, and I rolled it, and I kept pulling them, and I'm like, how long is that freaking nail? This one's 3 inches long. So you would have 3 inches of nail stuck into your wood. But if you use a pair of vice grips, it'll grab it into it, and you could just extract it by doing that. That's the simplest way to do that if you get a broken nail into the big piece of wood, the 2x4s or the 4x4s or the 4x6s. And it's all free wood. And this wood here that I get is not light stuff. They got real nice aging. They got a lot of lines. I mean, this, you figure if you've got a piece of pine, you're going to go, yeah, there's going to be like 6 growth lines into it. But if you look at this one here, that has a lot of growth lines. That's what they use for pallets. They don't use cheap Harbor Freight and Lowe's pine or fir that has like 3 age lines in a 4x4. That's meant to where it was grown so fast and there's no strength to it. Okay, pallets are made by really good wood. Even this plank that's right here, even this plank right here, you can see the growth lines in there. But it's literally, it almost looks like old growth wood, but it's not. But this shit is strong. If I took a Home Depot or Harbor Freight 2x6 and I built the table with that stuff, the table would last only a couple of years because it's super soft. I use pallets, super hard wood. Once the nails are extracted, which is really no time at all anymore. I've already taken apart 3 pallets and you see me sweating. No, I'm not wore out. I've only been out there for maybe 20 minutes total, breaking down 3 pallets. And now I'm down here showing how to extract the nails out of here and boom, 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 boom. Okay, super, super simple. So if you want to get a couple of things for your project, if you have the planks, you use this. Like I said, the nail is bent. Put the thing over the nail, bend it up, and then force it back the same way it came. That does the nail removal. That's all it is, just a cylinder that pushes a piston in here, and the nail has nowhere to go in that little hole. So it's forced to go through, so that the little pin that's in there won't go around the nail and jam it up. The other thing is this, which is the claw. And this part here goes in about 4 inches. Okay, so you can't pinch your fingers into it. So when you have the nail on the 4x's, the nail's sticking up about this far, make sure you put this down below here. Don't put it up here because then it won't work. You have to put it down here to give it time for this thing to get some speed up to extract the nail. And if it takes you a couple of times to get the nail out, that's okay, because that means that wood is really freaking hard. I had some nails on the 4x4 that I just took out in the previous video, and I'd probably say half the nails took about 2, possibly 3 times to get it out, because the first time it'd come up a 1/4 inch, the next one would come up another 1/2 inch, and the third time he goes, I'm done with this, and it extracted all the way. So if it takes a while to get the nails out, that's good wood. Okay, anyways, hopefully that works for you guys a little bit better. Again, here's the other tool that I got, the nail pusher. Make sure you put the nails that are going to be extracted over a garbage can, or like in my case, a 5-gallon can, so that way all the nails are kept into a bucket. Don't do it to where the stuff can go all over the floor, because you'll find nails everywhere. And you could literally take that nail gun, this extractor right here, put a plank and hold it up in the air and shoot it, and that nail will go across my 100-foot shop. Okay, so just be prepared. Oh, and also the other thing is the nails, when they are extracted, if they bounce back, they might hit your leg. They might have an issue where they're going to just go someplace and you have no control. You may even go, where the hell did the nail go? And you don't know until you move a vehicle in or out of your shop or your barn or whatever, your hand truck, whatever, and all of a sudden, well, you found the nail. Okay, always account for every single nail that you pull out. Count 20 nails, put 20 nails inside the can. If you have 19, you better start looking. Grab the magnet bar that you get from Harbor Freight. It has a couple of wheels onto it, and you're running around the shop, and go find that nail, because when I used to work at a tire place, every time we did brakes, the mechanics would put the little cotter pins on the leaf springs or whatever the case is. Did you know that the most repairs for a flat repair that were done just through Les Schwab was cotter pins from mechanics? Okay, so find your nails, put them in a safe place. If you want to throw them in the garbage can because you don't have a place to put them and it's not worth to take a handful of nails down to the scrapyard, it costs you 20 bucks in gas these days to get down to the scrap place to get 3 cents worth of metal if you're lucky. Just throw it in the garbage can. And the reason why is that every time the garbage people pick up their product, they don't just immediately throw it inside of the landfill. They take it to a sorting station, they take a magnet and they run it over the garbage. It extracts every bit of ferrous material, which is steel, cast iron, and so on, and it pulls that off the conveyor, so that way they get the money. And if they can get a ton of metal, a ton of nails in a week, then that's their issue. They get to do all the work to get this free money, so to speak, and you're not wasting your time. They also sort it into aluminum and the non-ferrous materials that don't get picked up, 304 stainless, things like that. But they have people that sort all the metals in there. So by the time it needs to go to the landfill, it's literally paper products and anything that literally can just go inside the ground and rot. Unfortunately, because the amount of plastics that everybody keeps making, a lot of the plastics are going into the landfills, which is just kind of BS. We need to get away from plastics and start making stuff back what it was back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and so on, where everything was made out of cardboard. Even my milk container that I remember back in the early 70s was actually cardboard. Probably wasn't recycled because they weren't thinking about that, but it was a cardboard container, and it had a red handle that was stapled to the cardboard lid. That's what I was growing up with our milk containers. Then they started making them out of glass again, but then glass was more expensive, so then they just said, oh well, let's just spend 2 cents and make a gallon jug container. Well, now that gallon jug, you can't get rid of it. Okay, you can try and recycle it, but even our recycling places will take the plastic milk jugs, but we don't want the lids. Okay, what the hell? They don't want the lids. Now they're being picky and choosy. So anyways, so yeah, don't worry about the metal. Just take the nails, throw them in your garbage can. They'll get sorted. Or if you feel that, oh, I don't want to do that, blah, 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 then just take the nails, put it into a container, put it right next to your garbage can, or put it on top of the garbage can. And either the tweakers are going to take it, or the garbage people are going to pick it up. Okay, they do have glass recycling bins for our place, but they don't have a metal recycling bin. They kind of do. They want papers and plastics and metals, but again, they're just going to dump the whole damn thing into a big old truck, and they're going to sort it later on anyway. So the metal is not going to be put into a landfill. And even if it was, the metal is from the earth anyway. It's not plastic that was man-made. So if it does go back in the earth, great, because then we're putting the metals back to the earth that people have robbed and stole for profit. So anyways, I hope this helps you out. Again, this is, unfortunately, it's a Chinese tool, but it works, and I would recommend that to anybody. And then I have the other one. This one here is a Mex, but it's not a Mexican tool. It's made in China. This one here says Kamsin. It's probably backward. Kamsin. But just go to AliExpress, look up nail remover, not nail polish remover, but you could put nail extractor, nail remover, that kind of thing, and you can get both of these normally for about $60 to $70 for the pair. If you go to eBay or Amazon, they want about $250 a pair because they're buying them from China and then reselling them to you and making a good couple of $100s off of you because you don't know to go to AliExpress. AliExpress is the place where you can go to buy small items. I have a Craftsman mower that needed a camshaft. Typical problem with it. I needed a starter for it, and this is the original starter. And if I was going to go find an original starter through Craftsman, it's $300. I go find this, it's the same damn starter. Come to find out, it has all the stampings and everything that the original does, which means it's an original Chinese part. I got it for 24 bucks with shipping included. Okay, just make sure you look at, when you're going to AliExpress and looking at stuff, look at the shipping that's involved into it. You go, oh wow, this thing's $14, and you click buy it now, and then you hit the buy it now and it says, okay, now hit these buttons so you can immediately go to say, yay, I bought it. But then you got to look at the shipping, because it'll say, oh, just like eBay, people were doing this, a while back, is that they would sell it for dirt cheap, but the shipping was like $500. You go to AliExpress, same thing. If you find all these things are $13 to $15 or so, and you go, great, and you click on the item, then it'll actually show you what the shipping is involved. Now, I've also found a little trick that they're trying to do also, just like a lot of eBay people were doing. And you would, so there's a thing called descriptions. So let's say that you wanted to buy a pair of tennis shoes from AliExpress. Now, not all the people are like this, but there is some scammers out there, okay, that they prey on the people who don't really pay attention. And what it does is, you'll want to go find something, go, oh, it has a picture of, let's say, this, okay? And you're like, that's exactly what I want, and they want it for 50 bucks, okay? So you click on the item, and you're like, oh, good, it's got 50 bucks. And down below, it says colors. It's not descriptions, but under colors. Well, when you look at the colors, there's different items. So if you go, well, I want that item, I'm not concerned about the colors, but for 50 bucks, I'll buy it. Well, then you do the buy it now, and then you get your item, and you get a pair of vice grips, and you're like, I didn't order a pair of vice grips. And it says, no, you actually ordered a pair of vice grips, because under the colors, that's your choices that you get to choose on what you want to buy. It's not a color. So for $50, you get a pair of vice grips. For $55 under a different color, and you have to look at the differences on these colors. So just click on the thing colors, and there'll be 5 to 10 items there, and then it'll say, oh, here's the tool minus everything here except for the air fitting. So the air fitting you're paying 12 bucks for. The second one will show the same thing, but it'll say you're only buying this. The third one will say this, and so on. You have to click on each one and see that the price has changed up top, because those colors are going to be a different description of an item that you don't catch. So you really got to be on the ball. Make sure that what you're getting is what you're paying for, okay? That's the only thing I would really say about AliExpress. And amazingly, something like this is free shipping. How in the hell do they get it to me in less than a week for free shipping? Even though it's 50 bucks, let's say, for that item, if I was going to buy that item here in the United States, it probably cost me about $250 to $300 and another $25 to $30 in shipping. I can get the part and the shipping included for the 50 bucks. And plus also in the United States, it'll take 7 to 10 days to get to me for the manufacturer or the seller to ship it to me at their cheapest rate. But yet if they ship it from China, how could it go across like 3,000 miles away from us, clear across the other side of the ocean, under an express package, and it doesn't cost me anything extra? I'm like, it boggles the mind. I mean, it's like the shipping companies are screwing us big time. I know that China offsets the fees that the sellers in China pay for shipping because they subsidize their shipping. But to get something from China in 3 to 4 days with no shipping included, and yes, they're making more money off the part, but they're probably paying $20 for shipping to get it to here when it costs $30 to $40 to ship the same item in the United States. Just tells me that the States is just screwing people over big time for shipping. So anyway, that's enough of my rant. Hopefully you guys get the tools. Your job will be so much easier, so much better, so much faster. Get these things done, get it out of the way, and then you can go on to your projects and work with some really good hardwood. You'll find pallets everywhere. Forget the ones that are stacked up really tall, that are all the 48 by 40s and the small pallets, anything with 2 by 4s and the the real thin wood. You don't want that unless the 2 by 4s are on a 10-foot or 12-foot long pallet. Now you're getting into some stuff where each piece of wood, junk wood at Home Depot and Lowe's, that's all wavy and it's made out of pine, that won't last for shit, and it's all full of nails and so on and so forth. That 2 by 4 could be worth $5 to $7 when you can get it for free on a pallet. And usually the 2 by 4 pallets usually have 3 2 by 4s onto it instead of 2 4 by 4s. So you get an extra piece of wood for free. So for $15 to $20 worth of wood and 10 minutes worth of work for one pallet for 3 2 by 4s, not a bad deal, especially when you get in the 4 by 4s. Make sure you get the long ones, the 8-foot, 10-foot, 12-foot. And yeah, the wood is just crazy hard. It's going to last. You can make whatever you want into it. And I plan on making another workbench for my wife so she could deal with plants and stuff like that. So she'll have a little thing to play with too. So anyway, I hope this all works out for you. Sorry for rambling on and stuff like that. Hopefully this will give you a little bit more information on how to play with free pallets. Okay? Have a great day. Bye-bye.